Hi there, Lindsey here, and Jay, the turkey man.
What?
We're running around today doing some last minute things before the holiday. Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the US. That got me thinking that some of you may like to see some holiday dinner ideas. So that's what I have for you today. Yesterday we cooked up a whole bunch of everything. And we even brined a turkey the night before and made some things the night before. So we have already cooked our Thanksgiving holiday dinner. It was amazing, really good meal, and I'm really excited to share these recipes with you. We do completely different recipes for Christmas. So I guess this is gonna kind of be chapter 1, and chapter 2 will be the recipes we make for Christmas. Because on Christmas, I usually make a ham instead of a turkey, and all the sides are different. So we'll get you a chapter 2 out in a couple weeks with all those recipes. I know Jay's excited about that because that means he gets Christmas dinner before Christmas. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I will try to timestamp everything in the description box. That way, if you're looking for a specific recipe, you can find it right there in the video. But I've got a lot of good ones for you today, so I hope you enjoy. The first recipe that I'm making for our holiday dinner is cranberry sauce. Now this is way too good not to make yourself. Don't use the canned stuff, do this instead. I've just got an 8-ounce bag of cranberries, and to that I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of water. I also add a little bit of orange juice. I just displaced the water for that. I think I used about a 1/4 cup, maybe a little bit less of orange juice. I just like that little flavor in there. I'm also using 2/3 of a cup of honey, and I'm just going to boil this mixture until it thickens up and creates your cranberry sauce. This is probably one of the most simple recipes that I have, and it is so delicious. And this is something you can make in advance and just keep it in your fridge. It'll stay good in your fridge for a week. So there's no reason not to make this at least the night before, so you don't have to add this to your holiday day of cooking. I like to just put these in a mason jar because they're easy to transport that way and it can take the heat. So I'm just gonna put it in the mason jar, let it come to room temperature on my counter, and then stick it right in the fridge. And it will darken up as it cools down. It's just got a lot of bubbles from all the heat. But this is the way I've been doing my cranberry sauce for years. You can always adjust the sweetness to your taste, and you can use sugar if you prefer, or maple syrup if you prefer. This is a really versatile recipe. Next up is the green bean casserole. Now this is either a love it or hate it recipe, but I make it better with a little bacon, because what can't be made better with bacon? So I've just got some bacon chopped here, and I'm going to fry that up. And you can just wait until it's completely fried and then remove it from the pan and add your onions. I just threw my onions in there because I was trying to like hurry it up and make it a little bit faster. But what you're gonna wanna do is just get some color on those onions and make sure your bacon is nice and fried. And I just do this right in my casserole dish because I don't want to have extra dishes to wash. But I have 2 cans of drained green beans here. To that, I'm going to add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup and my bacon and onions that I've fried there. And I also used about 1/3 of a can of chicken stock. And I'm gonna go crazy with the French fried onions here. I know that Wholesome Roots put out a video on how to make your own, so I'm gonna link to that video in the description box. But mine are just regular old Frenchies. Next up, we just have my grandmother's cornbread dressing. This also usually has some kind of like rotisserie chicken or shredded chicken in it, but I didn't have any, so it doesn't have that today. But we just got our pre-prepared cornbread. If you've waited too long and not prepared your cornbread and left it overnight, what you can do is cut up your cornbread and broil it for a little while just to kind of dry it out. I'm gonna blend up 2 celery stalks and half an onion here. You can add more or less. That's the thing about this cornbread dressing, is it's suited to everyone's taste. So you're just gonna taste it as you go along. Once I get my cornbread mashed up, I'm just gonna add in the blended onions and celery, and I'm gonna add in salt and pepper to taste. I usually do about a teaspoon to 2 of each salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna add sage. Now I ended up adding about 2 or 3 teaspoons of sage and just about 2 cups of chicken stock. But you're gonna want your mixture to be rather wet, because if it's not, then you're just gonna have cornbread with sage in it. You gotta get that texture right. So you're gonna add quite a bit of chicken stock. You might think it's too much, but once you bake it, it'll be good. And the only reason I didn't add my entire batch of cornbread is because I didn't have a pan that was quite big enough, so I had to go a little bit smaller on my cornbread recipe this time. Once you get your taste right, you're just gonna add in 2 eggs to this and bake it at 350 to 400. It really just depends on what you got in the oven. That's what's so good about this. You're going to bake it until the fork comes out clean. So that was around 40 minutes for me. The sweet potato casserole is a much debated dish. We never used to have this in my family, so this recipe is from my mother-in-law. But you're just going to roast your sweet potatoes with your other dishes as they cook. Or you can also put these in an Instant Pot, cut them up in an Instant Pot for 30 minutes. That would be fine too. And I just use about 2 tablespoons of butter per every large sweet potato. And mash that up really well. I'm also gonna add some pumpkin pie spice and cinnamon. I don't have nutmeg by itself, or it would have just been cinnamon and nutmeg. So I had to add a little bit extra than I usually do. Now my mother-in-law used to add brown sugar to this. I'm not doing that tonight, but if you're gonna add brown sugar, probably a couple tablespoons per sweet potato and you should be good. There are many ways you can top a sweet potato casserole. We use marshmallows. You can also add pecans into the mix, or you can put them on top with like a streusel topping, which is just a little bit of flour, some sugar, and cold butter with some pecans in it, and that would be really, really yummy too. You're just gonna bake this until your marshmallows brown on top and create that crispy layer of toasted marshmallows. Now we're cooking up a whiskey smoked turkey, and guys, this was so good. It does take a little bit of extra work. If you don't have a smoker, that is completely okay. You can also roast this in the oven. We got this recipe from Stephen Reichlin's book, Project Smoke. For our turkey brine, we've just got 1.5 cups of salt. We use sea salt as well as pink Himalayan because that's all we had. We're gonna add 2 quarts of boiling water just to dissolve that salt, as well as 1/2 cup of maple syrup. And once our salt is completely dissolved, we're adding in 1 cup of whiskey, as well as 6 quarts of cold water. You definitely don't want to put your turkey in anything hot at this point. We took 1 onion and quartered it and added a bay leaf to each quarter and pinned it on there with some whole cloves. So if you've never cooked a turkey before, when you open up your turkey, there's gonna be some things inside the cavity, okay? This one's got a neck.
Gotta get the neck bone.
Sometimes they'll have giblets, but
hey, they already got it banded.
This doesn't
wherever you call it.
You can check the neck. Oh, there we go. See, in the neck is where the bag, this is the liver and the, probably the liver and the something. I don't know, this is the organs in this bag, which is giblets. You always want to rinse out your cavity. Alright, so you're just going to look down in there and make sure that your cavity is empty. The cavity is now empty because I pulled out my giblet bag and my neck, and you can reserve these to make turkey stock, to make your turkey pan gravy. That's what my grandmother always did, just boil them, make you gravy. But I don't know that we're gonna do that because we have a smoked turkey and we'll just have like chicken gravy or something. We're gonna go simple this time. So now you just stick your turkey in the refrigerator for 24 hours. You know, we have a tiny little refrigerator, so I'm going to show you what we use as a refrigerator. And this was actually what we used as our off-grid refrigerator, and it worked excellent. It kept everything really cold. This Coleman igloo, we got to take our meat out of there, but we're just going to put ice in the bottom and put our turkey on top. Once your turkey has been in the cooler for a full 24 hours, you're just going to lay it out on a wire rack in order to dry. While it's drying, you can make your injector sauce. You're just going to use 3 tablespoons of chicken stock or turkey stock, and then 3 tablespoons of butter and 1 tablespoon of whiskey. And you're gonna melt all that together in a saucepan and then let that cool down. So you're gonna need the whole 30 minutes that the turkey's drying to let that cool. And then as you inject it, you're just gonna go in at different angles and really get this baby puffed up. This isn't in Steven's recipe, but we like beer can chicken, so we're gonna do a beer can turkey too. This just really keeps it moist, and we like smoking things as they're standing up. I feel like they get a more even smoke that way. So we just have these beer can holders that we picked up at Walmart, and we poured a little bit of beer out because we definitely don't want that to spill in our smoker. And this is one of the larger beer cans. They had it in my grocery store, but you may have to go to a liquor store to find one. I'm not really sure. But we just stuck our turkey on there so it'll sit nice and upright in our smoker. So this turkey smoked for a total of 5 hours. The first 2 hours you let it smoke, and then baste it with butter every hour after that. Even if you don't have a smoker, what you're gonna do is you're gonna bake this turkey at 350, 13 minutes for every pound of turkey. And you're gonna wanna baste it every 30 minutes. So 350 degrees in the oven, baste it every 30 minutes, and you're going to do 13 minutes per pound of turkey. The last thing I'm making is our pumpkin pecan pie cheesecake. Why have multiple desserts when you can put them all in one? And there are several layers to this pie. I'll have the ingredients and the recipe link listed below. I did change some things a little bit, so I'll just let you know what I changed. First of all, for the crust, I used ginger snaps and I did not put extra sugar in it. So we're just going to break up the ginger snaps. You want 1.5 cups of ginger snaps. And to that, I'm just gonna be adding 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I'll press this into my 8x8 baking dish. For the cheesecake layer, we just have 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just gonna beat all of that together and then spoon it into the crust and be super, super careful not to disturb that crust. Our pumpkin pie layer is made much like a pumpkin pie. You'll start your pumpkin pie layer by mixing up 2 eggs and beating those until they're fluffy. And then you're gonna add in the rest of the ingredients, which I've got 1 1/4 cups of pumpkin puree, as well as 1 cup of evaporated milk, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Don't forget the salt. Also, you're gonna see me put molasses in mine just because I didn't have brown sugar and I don't buy brown sugar. I usually mix it up before, but throwing a little bit of molasses in didn't hurt it one bit, and it tasted wonderful. You're gonna use your spatula to lessen the blow, so you don't want to displace any of that cheesecake layer. So just pour it onto your spatula so you can gently put it in the pan. Bake this one at 350 for 45 to 55 minutes. Mine took 55 minutes. You'll know it's done when a fork or knife comes out clean. And then you're gonna make some candied pecans, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, these are good just on their own. You can either chop these or leave them whole, but I've got 1 cup of pecans, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And we're also gonna butter a baking sheet, that way we have something to turn them out onto. But I just cooked these up until everything was dissolved. It was nice and golden brown.
I never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back. While I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow.
You're just gonna let these dry and then break them up, or chop them up if that's what you prefer. Just don't put your pecans on your cheesecake when it's hot. You're gonna wanna wait until that cools down, whether that's room temperature or in the fridge.
Yeah, it is just enough to get by.
And this was amazing. This dessert was the first time I made it, and it was a good one. So you guys are definitely gonna wanna try this for your holiday dinners. Oh, and it's kid approved. So I hope this video has given you some ideas for holiday recipes. Maybe these aren't things that your family does, so it'll give you an opportunity to try something new. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss videos like this one and lots of other ones in the future. And give this one a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye. So, This is where you're gonna look.
Or if you go to the dentist regularly and don't eat sugar, you won't have cavities.
Your turkey cavity. Now film the bird, not me.
I'm getting you and the bird.
The time I got, it is just enough to get